Yes, the audio is going to probably sound a little bit bad because everything's been cleared away from this. And yes, my shirt has got so many creases, Johnny Bairstow has walked away from me. But anyways, hello guys, Take99 here and welcome to NRL Tips and Predictions Round 19. A bridge before the decider where we get to see, not the decider, what? The decider of if Queensland get their sweep, basically. And but anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into the abridged round. Starting off on Thursday, we have a game of the haves and had-nots as the West Tigers take on the Cronulla Sharks. Sharks put 56 on the Dragons in the start of the round last week, and the West Tigers conceded 74, losing 74-0 to the North Queensland Cowboys, which is the biggest loss the West Tigers have faced, even if you factor in the Balmain and Western Suburbs lineage. It's just, what on earth was that last round? Obviously with all this momentum, and realistically the Sharks have still got a full strength team even after Origin. The Sharks are gonna just dominate. Though it was a bit shaky in the first couple of minutes against the Dragons, the Sharks should just very easily win this. Now we move on to the Friday, where it's another game where another team who got belted is playing, and it's actually the St. George Illawarra Dragons as they take on the Canberra Raiders. Canberra in a very close, some would say controversial game. I don't know, I didn't really fully watch it, against the Gold Coast Titans. I know something happened with a David Fifita no try, but yeah, the Dragons, of course, as mentioned in the previous game, got 56 put on them against the Sharks. But they were all right in the starting bit of the game. Which is better than to say about the other two teams that got copped 50-plus demolishings. But I think Canberra are really starting to shift and starting to prove their point of them being in the top 8. And I just think it's just going to continue, and I believe Canberra are going to win this game. Now we go to Saturday. We've actually got somewhat of a very good game, actually. You've got two teams that are out looking to prove themselves to being in solidifying top 8 positioning, as you've got the Parramatta Eels taking on the New Zealand Warriors. Now, Parramatta were able to get their rest. I thought about it on the spot. Got their rest because of the bye last week. And the New Zealand Warriors are coming off a very wet game, but wasn't enough to get them over against South Sydney. So you got Parramatta, whose form has definitely started to change for the better, and they're starting to perform better. Warriors, yes, the weather was bad, but also it's kind of like an equaliser, so it just depends on how much effort you put into it. And Souths were able to do it over the Warriors. It's going to be I think it's going to be a relatively close game, but I do think Parramatta might just edge this out, see them start to climb up the ladder and be in positions where they realistically should be. Maybe see the Warriors start to drift a little bit, but I think the Warriors should still be relatively alright, but I do think Parramatta should take this win. Now we go to the main event on Saturday, and we have the South Sydney Rabbitohs hosting the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. So South Sydney, obviously, as mentioned in the previous game, got their win in a very wet environment over in New Zealand. Like a very big standout win for them, because obviously New Zealand's been very hard to get wins over. And the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, I'm sorry, I've got to try to say this slowly so I don't think I'm having a stroke. Lost 66-0 against the Newcastle Knights at home. I'm a Knights fan, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, we're starting to perform good. But then it's it got to nearly 40-0 at half time. I'm like, what? And they just kept on going. And I think in terms of context, I think this was the worst result from last week. Obviously, yes, the Tigers did concede more, but you got to also think Tigers weren't playing at home. Alex Twal got sent into the bin, but the Bulldogs didn't have players sent to the bin. It was a home game for them, and also the Cowboys were trying to cling into the top 8. The Knights have kind of fallen off and are in that bottom 4 positioning. I don't think they're in the spoon race, but they're in the bottom 4, and just smacked them. And it's just ridiculous. Obviously, they played earlier on in the year of Good Friday, and South Sydney were just able to walk over them. And there's nothing the Bulldogs can do unless they bring in a half of the 2003 team. Scratch that 2004 team. If they bring any of those players back in, that's probably the only way they're going to even have a shot at being competitive and I'm going to say South Sydney will win this game. And to finally wrap up the end of the round, we actually have another very good game. We have the Gold Coast Titans against the Redcliffe Dolphins. In terms of very good, it's because the rest of the games are pretty dreadful. But Gold Coast Titans were a bit unlucky. Also a little bit sloppy when they played against the Canberra Raiders. They had 15, 16 errors by the end of the game, which was just abhorrent. And the Redcliffe Dolphins, though very close, were just edged out by Selwyn Cobbo and the Brisbane Broncos in the Battle of Brisbane 2 Electric Boogaloo. Is that even a funny meme anymore? So there is news, obviously, that Toby Sexton has immediately left the club. He's now going to be playing for the Bulldogs. I'm so sorry, Toby Sexton. But obviously you're going to have a lot of players out due to Origin because the forward pack is primarily from the Titans, especially, and AJ Brimson. And you've got for the Dolphins, you're going to be having Hammer and stuff like that going to be out as well. So it's going to be an interesting game, but I'd like to think that the Titans can win this, but it's just I feel like they might start to slip up a little bit in terms of getting back into the inconsistency days. So I'm going to actually tip the Dolphins to win. It's a very hard game to predict, but I'm going to say I'm thinking the Dolphins should take it. And that is the end of my predictions video. Who do you guys have this week? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.